Hello and welcome everyone. So I got the request to do a video all about accessorizing 60s and 70s style, and then a couple of days ago I did a Q&A over on my Instagram, which if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm gonna have it right here somewhere and also linked down below. You should follow me there for everyday 60s and 70s content. But basically in that Q&A someone also asked me about how to accessorize 60s and 70s clothing, and so I decided to make a video all about that. So during the 60s and 70s, accessories were a big thing, and I feel like during like the 50s and 40s, people like wore very muted jewelry, and like the handbags and purses were always really much matching the outfits, and a lot of like what people wore was very practical. And during the 60s and 70s, style just became so outrageous and versatile, and there were so many great looks, and accessories really became a big thing. So I personally love that during the 60s and 70s, people usually wore a lot of accessories and it wasn't really all about wearing t-shirt and jeans, which I personally don't think there's anything wrong with, but I'm just a huge fan of accessories myself. So I feel like accessorizing an outfit really elevates the entire look. Like you could have a super simple all black look, and just by adding jewelry and accessories, it can go from like a super simple look to a very interesting outfit. And today I'm gonna tell you everything about that. So let me start with one of my absolutely favorite accessory items, belts. I personally love to wear belts. I love to layer belts. I feel like during the 60s, belts really went from like a practical thing that you would wear to put on your pants and to kind of keep them staying up, to a very big fashion item and statement piece. So I personally have a lot of belts, and I'm not gonna show you every single one, but I'm just gonna show you a few different styles of belts that were really popular during the 60s and 70s. If you want to see all of my accessories, like all of my purses, all of my belts, all of my necklaces, I could totally make a video all about that, like showing you my entire accessory collection. Just leave a comment below telling me if you would like to see that. So let's start with this belt. This is kind of a very simple black belt. Square buckles were super popular during the 60s. I kind of really love the texture that it has, and also that it's shiny. It also works great with all sorts of like glam rock looks, and yeah, I think it's just a really cool piece. Another big trend, especially with hippie fashion and like during the later 60s and 70s, were all sorts of belts that had patterns stamped on. So these were kind of made by taking hot iron and just putting it on the leather, and it makes these beautiful details. I really love this belt. This one is from the 70s originally. I got it at a thrift store. I usually love to go for a big belt, but this one is so cute, especially with like dresses and long skirts and kind of a flowier country chic look. So a big trend in mod fashion were all sorts of geometrical shapes, and I have two geometrical belts. First of all is this super cute white one. This is just a very simple look. It's not vintage. I got this at a thrift store, but I'm pretty sure it's like not a vintage belt or anything. It looks very new. It's also not real leather, but this just creates a super beautiful mod look. And the other one being this one with like a round buckle that I also really love. This is probably from the 80s because these kind of belts were really popular during the 80s, but it also works great for a 60s London look. Moving on with chain belts. So chain belts became really popular during the 60s. As I said, all sorts of geometrical shapes were super popular, and this is kind of like the classic 60s chain belt. I also have this golden one that I think goes great with all sorts of 70s disco looks. And then I have this one, which I freaked out when I saw this at the thrift store because it just wasn't expensive at all. I think it was like 4 or 5 euros. And this is an original 70s chain belt. I love the detailing of like the plastic and the chain. It's such a cute belt and an amazing 70s look. Another big trend, especially during like the later 60s and hippie fashion, were all sorts of natural materials. So belts like these became super popular. I have this one that is wooden. I really love it. I feel like belts like these that are just a bit more special with their texture really add so much to a simple t-shirt and jean kind of look. I also have this beautiful one that I believe might even be handmade, like by the way that it looks. I absolutely love it. I think it's so beautiful. You just put it on and kind of tie it, and then this hangs down, and I think that's such a cute look, so I really love that. And all sorts of like braided belt were really popular with hippie fashion. And then I also have this one, which this one is super special, I think. Just the way that like the shells go together, it's so beautiful and I absolutely love that. So as you can see, I really like interesting belts, and another super interesting one that I have is this one. It's kind of like it has these metal pieces and then just a little circular buckle that you kind of tie this around, and yeah, I really like this one. I think this with like jeans and the band tee is such a cool look. So during the 70s, these kind of belts were super popular, where you kind of have like a big buckle here and then they're kind of individual pieces put together. I love the combination of metal and leather. I think it's so beautiful, and when you like buckle these, it creates this beautiful detail where this is kind of hanging down, which I also really love. I think it's such an amazing look. And the final one is a super special belt. It is this one. I absolutely love it. I think this over shorts or anything is also super cute. So during the 70s, cowboy fashion kind of had a comeback, and I absolutely love this belt. And fringes were also really big with like hippie fashion, and I think this is just such an interesting and beautiful piece. Another one of my personal favorite accessory items are sunglasses. So I personally tend to get a lot of migraines when it's like too light or too sunny out, but since I love spending time outside, I will wear sunglasses pretty much every single day. Like, I am actually that person who in the middle of the winter will randomly wear sunglasses just because it's a bit sunny outside. And I feel like sunglasses were super popular during the 60s and 70s, and a lot of different shapes and styles were super popular. So I kind of picked out a few different ones to show you what was really on trend. Starting with this one, so with like retro futurism, space age, and all sorts of geometrical shapes being so popular with like the whole 60s London look, sunglasses like these became super popular, and I actually really like them. I think the triangular shape is super interesting. Also, the super clean and white look of this goes so well with like white go-go boots. And that is a big fashion tip that I have for accessorizing, is to tie colors together. So if you like wearing white boots, wear white sunglasses. If you're wearing red boots, wear red headscarf or something like that. So I think repeating color throughout the outfit is always a great way to make sure your accessories go really well with your look. Another mod classic are these ones. They got really popular later in the 90s when Kurt Cobain wore them, but they were super popular in the 60s as well, and I really like them. I also like the pop of color. That's another like accessorizing tip, I guess. If you wear like a black and white look or like a very muted colored look, add some really interesting colored sunglasses to just kind of have that like pop of color and that one thing that makes your outfit a bit more interesting, I'd say. Another big trend were cat eye sunglasses like this one. I really love them. The cat eye shape became popular during the 50s, but kind of stayed popular, and I really like the kind of interesting shape that they have. I think they go great with a lot of looks, and yeah, I just wear them a lot. I feel like a lot of the times when people think about 60s and 70s sunglasses, they think of something like this. So just a very basic, simple, circular sunglass. They go great with all like hippie looks. John Lennon wore like smaller ones, which I am on the lookout for a pair of those. I would love to get a thrifted pair of like small sunglasses that are circular. But for now I have this pair, and this one has been doing it for me for years now, and yeah, I really like this pair. Speaking of John Lennon, another very popular style with like the Beatles were these kind of sunglasses where they're pretty small. Like, as you can see, like they kind of don't cover a lot, but they cover enough, I'd say. George Harrison had a pair that is kind of similar to this one but had like square framed, but I really enjoy the interesting shape of this pair of glasses. I actually got them at a thrift store the week before I left on a trip to Indonesia, so I backpacked through Indonesia for like 5 weeks, and I remember being like, okay, I'll just get a very cheap pair of sunglasses, and then if I lose them or if they break, it doesn't matter. But then I found these at the thrift store and I knew I had to get them. And like during the whole trip I was so careful around these, but as you can see, they survived. They turned out fine. I brought them back home with me, and yeah, I'm really happy about these. And these two are probably my favorite pair of sunglasses. So first of all, I love the shape. These ones are just so amazing. I love big sunglasses, absolutely love the look. And also, as you can see, they're kind of not too dark, so when it's slightly sunny I might get a headache, and I can just put on these to prevent that from happening. So I really love them. And then I also have these ones. These are probably like my absolutely favorite pair. I've never really seen any other sunglasses like that. I think they're so unique and beautiful, and they capture that like 70s look perfectly. From what I can tell, these are originally from the 70s. I got them at a flea market and I just love them. I found them in like one random bin and they weren't too expensive. I think they were like 6 or 7 euros, something like that. But they are so beautiful, so unique, and I wear them all the time. Moving on to another major 60s and 70s accessories trend, scarves. One really popular style of scarves were these ones, which are kind of very light, and then they have these psychedelic prints. I love them. I think just wearing them like this is such a cute look. This one is so gorgeous. They also always work super great to kind of like wear as a headscarf. Obviously maybe not with that hairstyle, but in general I just really love these kind of styles. I also have this one, which is hand painted and has these beautiful gold details. This one, however, is more of a square shape. I really love to also wrap this maybe around bags. I think that's a cute look. Or like tie it up in my hair, always great. I also really love to tie these around my thighs and like wear shorts. I think that's super interesting and cute look. Obviously Paisley was a big trend in the 60s, so I have this scarf that kind of has these Paisley patterns, and this is so beautiful. One trend that was especially made popular by Jim Morrison were like skinny scarves, and I really love them. So you kind of like just wear them like this. Very simple, very cute. They kind of had a comeback in like the 2000s. You find them a lot at thrift stores for super cheap. Also have this sparkly red one, which is most likely from the early 2000s. I also have this one that I love to wear as a hair tie. I think it looks so cute. Also, sometimes I tie it around my arm, and I actually made this myself. So I had this dress that was just too long on me, so I shortened it, and then I just used the excess fabric and sew it into this kind of scarf looking thing. And that is a huge tip I have for you. If you get a dress from the thrift store and it's too long, or you just kind of alter it, keep the excess fabric and turn it into scarf, turn it into accessory details, because especially with mod fashion, having accessories the same pattern or color or fabric as your outfit was a huge trend. If you've been on this channel for a while, you know I love velvet, so of course I have a velvet skinny scarf. So these kind of squared shawl scarf things were super popular during the 60s. I have this one with this super classic pattern. I also really love to wear them like this. That was also a big trend during the 70s. I'll wear it around my neck. I also really like to fold them over so that they're kind of a bit like this, and then just putting them around my neck like so, and just using a clip to kind of keep it down here. I think that's such a cute look as well. Or just obviously tying it very simple like this, also such an amazing look. And then I also have this super dreamy cute one that reminds me a lot of Miss Pamela of the GTOs. And this one I actually really love to wear around my shoulder, which brings me to my next category, which is all sorts of shawls. Let me grab my shawls for you and I will show you what I mean. So shawls are essentially just like triangular shaped big scarves that you kind of wear around your shoulders or down here. I really love them. I think that is such a beautiful look. I also think it's so functional because in the summer maybe you're wearing like a sundress or something and then it gets a bit cold, so you just have a shawl with you to kind of wrap yourself up in it. I also have quite a few knitted ones. I really love them, and these just keep me so warm. I really love to wear them. Sometimes I also like to take a brooch or something and then kind of close it here so that it almost looks like a poncho, I'd say. But these are so beautiful. I also have this one, which this one actually is a square. I love the colors and like the whole look of it. This is from the 70s, I'm pretty sure. And I just fold it in half and then I wear it around my shoulders, and yeah, it's a beautiful look. The final shawl that I want to show you is almost a cape, and this is so special to me. It looks like this, and then it even has like a little, these two little front parts that you can kind of tie, so it looks like this. This reminds me so much of Stevie Nicks. I think it's such a beautiful and interesting look, and I love to wear this. Like this over a very simple black look just gives it such an amazing and unique look. So let's move on to purses. I actually have quite a few purses, and I kind of picked out a few ones that were just like very different styles to show you great ways to wear purses with your looks. Let's start with this super simple one. So this one is very simple. This is from the 60s. You kind of open it by like lifting that little golden detail up here, and then it is green on the inside. I think it's so beautiful. It's a very classic look. All sorts of purses that you open up like this were super popular during the 60s, and I think this is a very cute and like super simple classic piece. So this next bag is super special to me. I got it off of Depop, I believe. But basically this purse that is so beautiful. The inside of it is a dream. You open it up like this. Now look at this. This is a 60s original bag. It is so beautiful. It has a little tag on the inside that says made in Hong Kong. So that is so amazing. I think this is such a unique and beautiful bag. It reminds me a lot of Jane Birkin, and I absolutely love it. So this bag is from the 70s. I really like it. I think it's very cute. It kind of has this fun little detail up front here. As you can see, one of the handles broke. I bought it and it was almost broken. That's why I got it for super cheap, and I need to fix this. But for now, you know what? Just gonna put that in here. I feel like this detailing where it's kind of different parts of leather and then it is sewn together by like a leather strip is such a popular 70s look, and I really like this bag. Speaking of patchwork leather, I also have this one. This one is also from the 70s original. I love this one. I think the colors are amazing. Also like the wooden handles. As said before, late 60s, early 70s, hippie fashion, all sorts of natural materials were a big trend. So this is like such a perfect bag. Also this one is pretty big and it fits like books and papers and assignments, so that is great. So this next bag is probably not everyone's style, but I love it. It is this wonderful beach bag. I absolutely love it. I know that this was like a huge trend in the 70s, and I think it is so cute. This also fits a lot more than you'd expect it to, and I think it's such a cool piece. And also this is great for traveling because you can kind of open it on the side and then it becomes one flat piece of plastic that you can easily pack in your suitcase for any sort of vacation. And yeah, I think this is such a cool piece. During the 60s, really small handbags were also a big trend. So I have this one, which is originally from the 60s. I really love the detailing. I think it's so beautiful. And as said before, like this kind of way to open it was super popular in the 60s. I also have this one with like the chain belt, and I really love the color. I think this is such a unique and amazing piece. And as said before, I just love velvet, so this cute little velvet bag is also one of my favorites. Having suitcases as bags was also a big 60s trend. I'm sure you've seen like the 60s flight attendant look. I feel like that was such a popular look, and from that people wore suitcases as purses, and I have this one that I love. I think it's so cute. It is really just a little suitcase like this, but I absolutely love it. I think it's such an interesting look. I love the pattern on this, and yeah, really enjoy this. The next bag is not from the 60s or 70s. I got it as a birthday present, and I think it is so groovy. It's this bag. I love it. As you can see, it has two vinyl records back to back, and I think that's so cool, such a unique look. And this with like a band shirt and jeans is just an amazing look. Another great way to accessorize 60s and 70s looks is by wearing hats. So probably one of the biggest hat trends and a true 60s classic is a beret. I have this one, I also have a black one and a red one. And yeah, I mean, I just have the worst hairstyle for this today. But berets of all sorts and colors were so popular. Mary Quant made them super popular. She was the lady who invented the miniskirt and made it super popular in the 60s in London. And a lot of her looks were miniskirts and mini dresses with berets. So berets were super popular in the swinging 60s in London. Another big 60s trend were these hats. So real fur hats. Janis Joplin, for example, made them super popular. I really love this hat, and I kid you not, this keeps my head so warm. Like wearing this in the winter time is just the most amazing thing ever. Another big trend were cute little straw hats like this one. It also has a bow, and I think this goes great with like that 70s dreamy country look. Big sun hats like this were also super popular. Jane Birkin wore a few. Also, Anita Pallenberg wore them, and I really like that this one is black. I feel like a lot of the time sun hats are like very light colored and very girly, and this one just kind of adds a little bit of edge to these looks. So these hats were super popular, especially with beatnik fashion. I believe this is a baker's boy hat. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's what it's called. These were also super popular for both men and women to wear. Actually, during the 60s and 70s, accessories and like wearing scarves and belts and jewelry, that was like a super unisex thing, and so were hats. So this one was super popular. I also have this one, which is pretty much a very classic fedora. I feel like especially people like Bob Dylan or Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones made them super popular, but I think it's an amazing style also for women to wear. I also have this one, which is like another super interesting hat. I have no idea how this form or shape is called. If you have any idea, leave a comment because I would love to know. But I really love that it is velvet and it has this wonderful muted paisley print that is so beautiful and just a very 60s look. And the last hat that I want to show you is this one. So this one is so interesting. When I saw this in store, it immediately reminded me of something Stevie Nicks would have worn. I love this hat. I think it is so interesting and wonderful. Last but not least is jewelry. I kind of picked a few jewelry pieces out and put them in this little thing so that I can show you. So starting in the mid-60s, bohemian fashion became a really big trend and it became super popular during the late 60s. And I have this necklace that is so beautiful. It is originally from that time. I really love it. I wore it in my Sharon Tate inspired lookbook because Sharon Tate wore a lot of necklaces like this, and I just think they are so beautiful. During the 70s, necklaces out of plastic became super popular, and I have this one, also the shape of this, so that kind of droopy shape was so popular during the 70s. The colors too, this one is from the 70s, and I really love this necklace. Obviously with jewelry, natural materials were a big trend as well, so I have this little necklace, and the final necklace is this one. I really like it. I think it's so interesting. It was also super trendy during the 70s. Oh, what happened to my necklace? And how didn't I realize this? Okay, my necklace undid itself. Actually, speaking of necklaces, this is like a little hack that I have. So I'm wearing this necklace today, and as you can see, I kind of added another chain to it because it wasn't long enough, so that is something that I really love to do. Let me give you a closer look. So as you can see, this is like the original chain that this necklace was on, and then I added another one to just make it longer. And I really love the look of like layered necklaces. I feel like the more necklaces, the better. It's just a lot of fun to play around with jewelry, and just adding another necklace to a necklace just works perfectly fine with most necklaces to add a lot of length to them. Moving on to bracelets. First of all, I have this one. So bracelets like this were really popular, especially among mod fashion, just solid colors, super fun. I really love this one. The detailing on this is so beautiful. Like if you kind of, I hope you can see when the light shines through, it's kind of marble and it's so beautiful. Also leather was a big trend, so all sorts of leather bracelets. As said before, nature materials, so wooden bracelets were a big thing. I have this wonderful one. So these bracelets were super popular, especially during the 70s. And as you can see, it kind of has this little detailing. There are real plants inside there, and then it's kind of filled up with like this sort of plastic. These were so popular. This is actually from my mom from the 70s, and I absolutely love to wear it. I think it's such an interesting and beautiful piece. And then just these really big bracelets were super popular. And here's another little accessorizing tip that I have. So these bracelets are designed to go on your wrist like this. I have super small wrists, so a couple of years ago, here's what I started doing. So I started putting them on around my upper arm, and I really love the look of this. This was also very popular during like the 60s and 70s. A lot of people wore it, and I just think it's so cool to not only wear bracelets around your wrists, but also on your arms. I also have this one with the two little snakes. I just thrifted this recently, and it's already become one of my favorite items. Really liking this one. Moving on to earrings. So these are my absolute favorite earrings. You've probably seen me wear these all the time. They have a queen, which is one of my favorite band, if you couldn't tell, on this little guitar pick. I think it's so beautiful. I also have the matching necklace. Got this off of a small business on Etsy, so I really like this. Another big earring trend were these kind of disco ball earrings. I actually made them myself. Twiggy wore them and I couldn't really find dupes of these that I really liked. So I made these myself. These are just little foam balls that are like sparkling silver, and I put them on a little string and then on these like little hoop earrings that I had. And small hoops in general were also a big trend during 60s and 70s. This was a super popular shape of earring, especially with mod fashion, and these are wrapped in leather, which I really like. I think that's such an interesting detail. Also, I get a lot of my earrings from the thrift store, but please, if you do that, make sure to sanitize them. Like, sanitize the whole thing. Sanitize this part up here, obviously that goes in your ear, but if possible, sanitize the whole thing and just make sure you don't get an infection or anything. I also have these ones. These are actually from the 60s originally, and I really love them. I think they're so beautiful, and they also remind me a lot of like Biba fashion. And then I have these ones. These are just super classic. As said before, circular shapes were really popular during the 60s and 70s, so these work great with a lot of looks. Moving on to rings. Rings are like my favorite jewelry of all time. I wear multiple rings pretty much every single day, and I just want to talk a bit about like the biggest ring trends of the 60s and 70s. So big stones like on this ring were super popular. Also rings like this were super popular, especially with mod fashion. As you can see, it's just one piece of acrylic, I guess, and then it's kind of carved into a ring. And I really like to wear these two together with like mod looks. I think it always works great. So with hippie fashion, as said multiple times in this video, natural materials were a big trend. So I have this ring that just has a stone on top of it, and then also this ring that is made out of a piece of stone, so kind of carved out of it. Really love it. I personally love to wear rings on my middle fingers and pointer fingers, and I have this one that is a snake. I think that's so dope. It reminds me a lot of like 70s rock fashion. I also have this one that's just very classic, has a beautiful green stone, and I got this at a flea market, and I'm pretty sure it is someone's engagement ring, which I really love that because I feel like this jewelry item probably has so much history to it, and I just really like to get jewelry from the thrift store or from flea market and then just wonder about who originally owned them. This ring is another personal favorite. Such a cool witchy little look, so I really like this one. Then also I have this one. This one is cool because it goes around my thumb. I love to wear rings around my thumb. I also really love to match gold and silver jewelry. I think it goes great together and I really don't care. So in general, my advice to style 60s and 70s accessories would just be to not be afraid. I feel like you can't really overdo it. Just have fun with it. Be experimental, try different looks, wear sunglasses, hats, wear whatever makes you happy, wear what you feel confident in. I also really love to use Pinterest as an inspiration. I really love to browse through it. It always gives me great new ideas. I'm gonna have my Pinterest link down below if you want to check that out. But I genuinely think the bottom of all of this is wear whatever makes you happy. You look best in the clothes you feel the most confident in, the clothes that make you feel the best. It really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, and I want to encourage every single one of you out there. If you have a piece of clothing in your wardrobe where you're like, I'm kind of scared to wear that, I'm kind of scared to add these accessories to it, I feel like it might be too much, I would love you to wear it. And if you wear it, take a picture of it, tag me in it. I will hype you up about it because I really truly feel like you look the best in what you feel the best in, and if something makes you feel amazing, if you really want to wear that dress, wear that dress. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love you to give it a thumbs up and maybe even share it with a friend. It supports me, it supports the channel, and it would mean so much. Please leave a comment telling me all about your favorite 60s and 70s accessories. What are your favorite pieces and what are your advices and ideas on styling accessories? I would love to know all about that. If you're interested in all things 60s and 70s, subscribe to this channel because I upload multiple videos all about 60s and 70s, makeup, fashion, lifestyle, all these things, and we always have a great time on this channel, so hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on that. I hope you're having an amazing day. Go out, enjoy the sunshine, take yourself some time to focus on you and your mental health today, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye guys!